follow the show at minimum and subscribe at maximum and hang out with us every... Oh, is that Anthony there? Are we calling him already? Anthony, how are you, man? It's Tony Bruno.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I didn't even hear Robin dialing you. Normally we dial the guests on the air, and you can hear the dialing and the ringing like in the old days when it sounds so good when you hear somebody actually hitting the dial tone.
One ringy-dingy, two ringy-dingies.
Exactly. Do you know the cash call jackpot amount right now, Anthony White?
I'm afraid not. I just ran from a meeting so I could get here to get on with you all, and but it sounds like an exciting deal there.
No, it's an old dumb radio thing where people would call people and say, "Were you listening to the show? You know how much is in the jackpot?" And if you knew, they would send you the money. But I'm going to send you a copy of Madden 05 autographed just for you, Anthony White. Anthony White's one of the brilliant developers at EA Sports. How many years have you worked on the Madden franchise?
I've been with EA for 14 years. I started out in January of 05, and as a matter of fact, Madden 06 is the first one that I actually worked on, which shipped that year, and that's the one you guys may remember with Donovan McNabb on the cover.
Exactly. Well, you know, in 05, that was the one. I was in 05, 06, and 07. As you probably know, 05 was the first time they did the radio show, and that's where Ray Lewis was on the cover.
Ray Lewis,
and my picture's actually on the back of the box, which is quite an honor.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, Tony, I'd be remiss to say that I was actually a big fan of you in the game back in those days, because I actually used to enjoy listening to the, for people who may not know, that was part of our franchise modes in those days. So Tony would do interviews with like some of the head coaches and such. And as a matter of fact, I think one of my favorite ones is the one you did with Jack Del Rio, who was the coach of the Jags at the time. So I used to enjoy listening, because it was almost like listening to your real life radio show. So I really enjoyed those.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was an honor to do it, to be asked, because the people at EA, they contacted me and said, "Hey, we're going to do a new feature, and we're going to add a radio show component to it." And they said, "Would you like to do it?" And I said, "Let me think."
Anthony, this is Miss Robin here on the show. We have so many listeners that are tuning in right now, one of whom, Trevor said that, and a couple of people, they used to hear Tony's voice coming from all of the dorm rooms when they were being played. And so he said that the Tony Bruno voice is his college memories.
It's ingrained in a lot of the college students who were playing Madden around that time. And it was actually a pretty cool feature. So who knows, maybe something will come up like that down the road one of these days in a future edition of the game.
Well, let me tell you, if you brought Tony back, so many people would be excited. We get that answer or that question all the time. When are you going to be back on the game? We love that, man.
No, it's to be considered and to be a part of the most successful sports video game franchise of all time. Seriously, it's amazing how many people know me from radio or TV or other things that I've done, or ESPN or Fox. Yet there's a whole generation of people who know me strictly from the video game. That's all they know about me. They knew about me in Madden. So it's amazing how many generations of people I've crossed paths with over the last 50 years.
And I totally understand that, because, one of the cool things about the job that I have in my role is I get to go out and visit with Coach Madden himself. As usually around the football season, we generally give him an update on, how the game is doing, new features and things of that nature for the next year's game. But he actually likes to mention that story as well of himself. He was a coach. Not many of the people around, the younger people anyway, realize how much success he had as an NFL head coach, but also too, some people may not realize the success he had as a broadcaster.
Oh yeah.
But they definitely know him and associate him with the Madden game. As a matter of fact, I'm sure a lot of the younger people probably 25 and younger. That's probably the only association they may have with Coach Madden.
Yeah, it's
so I can definitely understand the same thing that you deal with in that regard.
Well, I'm no John. John's a great friend, and I was honored to know him, and I get to see him every once in a while when I go out to the Bay Area, and he's an icon yet. But you're right. A lot of younger people under 25, they just know Madden. They don't know it was John Madden. They don't know it was John Madden who was the number one broadcaster on CBS all those years, and then Fox and Monday Night Football.
Fox, Pat Summerall, that old crew, the number one crew. Yep.
So now the big question is, every year you have to do fresh stuff, and it's sort of like iPhones. To most people who are Madden fans, they're going to go buy Madden no matter what, but they always know whatever's new, the the new developments, the new parts of the game. Everybody knows because that's what you guys do so well is every year you add something new so that the game never gets stale. I mean, the technology, of course, keeps getting better. I mean, the last 15 years from when I did the game till now, I mean, it's much more realistic. Although those are still those are good, they're still playable games. The 05, 06, 07, it's not like you can't go back and play a Madden from the 2000 era and say, oh, man, this thing's like, it's like when you went from Sega Genesis, went from Atari to Sega Genesis.
Yeah, console transition, yep.
Exactly.
Anthony, I have to say that when it's weird, now every now and then I'll be looking through other Twitch channels or something and somebody will be playing and I have to do a double take to see, wait a minute, is that a real game or is that a...
Yeah, is that the real thing?
Is that the real thing?
Yeah.
It's so realistic.
Yeah, and to kind of give you guys an idea to sort of, high level walk you through how we sort of come up with some of the ideas that go into the game on a yearly basis. Well, obviously, we start by looking at what we did in the previous versions of the game. And, we try to, and we're always, especially in a role like mine as a designer, you're always looking for feedback on what you've done previously. And, you take that feedback from various sources, our players who play the game, various social media outlets, but also, too, internally, there's things that me and my colleagues that we're always wanting to do ourselves. And then, we sort of try to, get all of those ideas together, if you will. And then, just like a lot of other businesses do, we sort of prioritize those things in terms of importance and what people are asking for and wanting, and also, too, what can help us achieve that goal of, delivering a true, authentic NFL experience. And then you start to, from there, you start to narrow down the things that you really want to go after, those things that we think will really resonate the most with our fan base. And then, the production work starts in earnest to, get those things implemented. Then, we go out and we start writing the designs and, we start, a lot of planning meetings and sessions, doing things in such a, like, for example, my deal with offensive plays, defensive plays, all the AI and things of that nature. You start thinking about lining up mocap talent so that we can go and do motion capture sections, watching a lot of NFL game footage so that we can capture those really authentic movements and techniques that the players execute every weekend, every Sunday on the field. And then we work with our animation staff to bring those things to life in the game. And then, of course, our engineering teams to make sure that we have the AI on both sides of the ball that can actually execute those things. And, we have the mechanics that allow our users to be able to, experience with those various features. So that's sort of, in a quick high-level overview of how that year-to-year process, how we innovate, how we sort of, get things into the game so we can deliver fresh new content to the fans of the game on a yearly basis.
Now, of course, one of the big questions, and it's like an unveil, is, who's going to be on the cover, and you guys have already announced that. It's going to be Patrick Mahomes this year, right?
Patrick Mahomes, yep.
Now, how soon do you make that decision for the next year's game?
Well, the marketing team in earnest, they generally make that decision. Now, in the past, they've actually left it up to a fan vote. But generally speaking, it's usually about a few weeks, maybe a month or so before we start releasing information in terms of who the cover athlete will be. And that all leads up to, the unveiling of various features. And then, we start to slowly, work our way up to what we call EA Play, which is our annual event that we hold out in Hollywood every year, where that's the first experience that people get to, well, that's the first time people get to experience the Madden game, get gameplay, get their hands on the sticks. So it's sort of one of those things that's on the calendar that sort of leads up from a series of marketing events to the culmination with EA Play. This year, the announcement was around the NFL draft this year in Nashville. And so usually around that time, because now people are starting to really get that frenzy, if you will, starting to get that football feel. And that's the first big sort of, football event that takes place in that time of the year. So that's usually when they generally look, or at least lately, they've looked to, announce the cover athlete around that time frame.
And also the other things that people always look for, well, they talk about the jinx, but the games, the parts of the games, and the jinx really hasn't really been a big deal lately because every year it seemed back in the day, if you were on the cover, it was like the Sports Illustrated jinx. People are always looking for negative things to happen when somebody's on a cover of anything. Is there still what you considered some fear about do athletes still say, I don't know if I want to be on the cover, I don't want to be part of the jinx?
I don't know if that's as a big of a thing now. At least with some of the athletes that I've had a chance to spoke with. I was at the cover shoot last year when Antonio Brown, he was going through his photo shoot, and he didn't seem too worried about it. We were just sort of shooting the breeze during one of the breaks there. But it's one of those things, though. For a while, though, you start to think to yourself, okay, maybe there is something here. But like you said, lately, it's sort of been one of those things that, probably a little bit more of a urban legend, if you will, than a real thing. But even Coach Madden himself has brought that up to us about, guys will approach me about, hey, I don't know if I want to be on that cover because of that jinx and so forth. But it is very interesting, and it makes for a great talking points, if you will, when you talk to guys about being on the cover, and especially guys who've been on the cover in the past.
Now, one of the other cool things that I just found out this past year, actually a few months back at the Super Bowl in Atlanta, you guys had a booth there, and I had a chance to go in and get my head completely scanned. So that's what you do to all the athletes now. So you sit in this chair, and there's cameras all the way around you, 360 degrees, and then they take a picture, and so you have the entire scope of a person's skull, and you can use, like, my head now will be featured in some games, maybe in the stands, not as an announcer, and so that's what you do with a lot of people. You put them in different games, right, because of these head scans.
Yeah, those head scans, and, that's a pretty extensive process. Matter of fact, I was actually involved in that, not this past summer, but 2 summers ago at the NFL's owners meeting down here in Orlando, where, usually with the new head coaches, since they're all sort of at one location, and, you can, instead of having to go to their individual team locations, the new coaches, they come in, we get their head scans, and then we're able to get them into the game. And then what they usually do also at the NFL Combine, like to go there and, you're able to get some of the rookies as well so that you can have them accurately portrayed in the game. And a couple of years ago, they actually went out to all of the team locations and, started scanning the players. So I think there's still maybe a few outliners that we may not have, but by and large, we've gotten most of the league, and it's really impressive too. You look at the character artists, the way they're able to take those head scans and, actually recreate those lifelike images and those lifelike characters in the game, which is something that our fans really appreciate, especially with the NFL game. You can really zoom in because, the guys are wearing helmets, but you can look at them and say, oh, okay, that's really his face. Those are his facial expression. So it's a pretty cool process.
Yeah, and I was told that the head scan that they did of me could appear anywhere, not just in the Madden games. It could be in the soccer game. It could be in the NBA game. So the heads can appear. Oh, yeah. The heads are interchangeable.
Yeah, it's shared technology. That's one of the benefits of being on a streamlined game engine. Frostbite. We're able to share assets and resources back and forth, various games, especially within the sports label.
You guys even have a Twitch channel, right?
Yeah, we're on all kinds of social media platforms. Twitch is obviously a big one. We did a live stream on Twitch last night where we actually gave more info on the Madden game in terms of gameplay, some of the features that we're doing in there. My area, which is mostly revolves around the X's and O's, the game AI, and some of the new things that we're doing there. So we have a Twitch channel, and we like to communicate with our fans through various media, social media platforms, Twitch being one of them.
You got to have Twitch host one of my shows because everybody can host other shows now. I'll host one of the Twitch shows, and you guys can. I don't know how that works because I don't know all that technological stuff.
Don't you worry, Tony. I know how it works.
Okay, Robin does all that stuff.
And also, if they want to host the Bruno Nation Live, which would be kind of funny because all of these people that recognize Tony's voice are like, wait a minute, they'll feel like they're watching Twitch in franchise mode.
Yeah, we got to do like some special Twitch franchise mode type special shows, during the course of the summer before the release of the next game coming up in the fall. Right?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to do that stuff.
Now, actually, we have a question from one of our fans that is listening in, big Madden fan. They're asking, what is different in franchise modes this year for coming up for 20?
Well, with franchise mode, there are some things that they're definitely looking at, getting implemented in terms of, some of the new schemes, and that's something that I'm involved with in terms of, team building aspect of franchise mode. Being able to identify players who can fit this particular mold of play. In particular, one of the things that's impacting that is, Cliff Kingsbury being the new head coach at the Arizona Cardinals. Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, people may not realize this. Not only does it have an impact gameplay-wise from what I do, because, you have to research what, and try to project ahead what type of offense that he may use. But in franchise mode, well, what type of players that he will need to use for that, you'll need to use for his type of offense. And, we have to do a lot of tuning in that regard. So, and also, too, we have to create a new scheme for franchise mode, which affects the way that the Cardinals will evaluate and look at players and such and so forth. So, we had to add the air raid scheme, which is something that we hadn't had before. So that's one of the, nuggets that you'll be able to see new this year in the franchise mode.
Now, I know you guys sent us a couple of graphics of some of the new plays, and one of them is the Philly Special, and I got a lot of comments on my Twitter feed and on my Twitch feed about why the Philly Special. I mean, the Bears ran it first, but there is going to be a play called the Philly Special. I
remember the Bears running that, yep.
Exactly,
yep.
So that's the big argument. Obviously, Eagles fans are going to say, wow, that's awesome, because that was one of the most important things. So Robin now has put the graphic up on our Twitch screen, and it's a graphic. Mm-hmm. It's not the actual animation. It's just a graphic of the actual drawn play called the Philly Special. So when you play Madden 20, you'll be able to run that play not just for the Eagles, but for any team that you play with or against?
Yeah, right now it's only in the Eagles playbook for Madden 20, and, there's a possibility we may put it in some others, and it will still be called Philly. But, yeah, you'll be able to, if you use the Eagles playbook, or if you choose to create a custom playbook, which we allow users to take plays from all the team playbooks and sort of build their own, if you will, you'll be able to use that play against whoever you want. And the interesting thing about that play, it has such unique features and characteristics, that I'm sure that every Eagles fan, every football fan who remembers watching that Super Bowl game, Nick Foles going up to the line of scrimmage, as if he's calling out a signal, tapping the tackle on the backside, the ball gets snapped and it's pitched to Trey Burton, who came around and threw the pass. Well, obviously, since all those elements are in play, you feel like, well, we just can't really go with one play. We need to add a few other plays so that when you're playing, Tony, with maybe Robin, Robin sees, oh, okay, Tony, I know you're calling Philly Special, but no, it's the fake Philly Special, so you get her with that one. So you got to make some couple plays look alike. And that's the one thing that's sort of different from the NFL and video game worlds, where, we have to sort of think about in terms of, well, if you're playing your buddy, he can see what I'm calling because it's right there on the play call screen. So you have to sort of come up with some other plays that look similar to it. But yeah, that Philly Special, that's a fun play that you'll be able to use regardless of what team you choose, as long as you pick a playbook that has it.
Well, I have a really funny, I was just watching Cobra Frenchie on twitch.tv that the Madden NFL Twitch station was hosting, and he was saying that he is not an Eagles fan, but he was playing his Eagles players so that he could play the play, because he's like, I can't believe I'm actually playing Eagles, but this play is so awesome, I had to do it. It was pretty funny.
By the way, one quick question.
Yeah.
NorCal Navy Mike is on our Twitch stream, and he's saying, thanks for calling in today, Mr. White. Long time bugaboo in game. The clocks in game for daily, weekly objectives do not properly account for daylight savings time. Clocks are off by an hour. And he says, example, resets currently happen at 7 a.m. Eastern time, not 6 a.m., as is shown labeled in game. Should be an easy fix. It's somehow we haven't seen it done for it. So for us overnight players, cutting it right down to the wire, he wants to know if that's something that can, and obviously the technology is there. So these are the kinds of questions I'm sure you guys get all the time.
Yeah, we do, and we get all kinds of questions. And matter of fact, this is duly noted, and I will follow up with this when I, get back upstairs. But yeah, we get all kinds of questions just like that on a variety of topics and things like that. One of the funniest bugs that I think I ever saw, when we were doing the development process, that's actually the fun part of the year, where a lot of people don't necessarily see a lot of the things that go on behind the scenes, but because obviously we're trying to get the game polished and, something that our fans can enjoy. But one of the funniest bugs I think I ever saw when I first got here, we were doing something around weather and realistic weather in the various locations, which kind of sort of related to that question. And I looked up and come across my desk. Oh, it was snowing in Miami. I was like, okay, well, obviously that's something we got to get addressed. So you run into these little things every now and then. But, yeah, that's something that we can definitely take a look at.
Awesome. So we have two more plays that you sent us on graphics. And then for the people who say, I don't like Philly, why do you have to put Philly special in? Remember, one of the plays that pretty much every team runs in football and has been for a long time is the jet sweep, because the New York Jets started doing it. So nobody complains about the jet sweep, do they, when we hear and we see a play run and they say, oh, it's the jet sweep? Does anybody complain?
You know what? Until you just said that never crossed my mind. The New York Jets and the jet sweep. So I'm not sure if that's actually why it's called that. But yeah, the jet sweep. That's something that with the new animation technology that we've actually implemented into Madden Madden NFL 20. It's actually opened the door up for us to be able to create cool and interesting plays like that. Well, you got multiple players involved in the animation. We essentially assign players their roles in that animation, and it works out beautifully in terms of how it's executed in game. Obviously, everyone who's watched the Super Bowl last year, it seems now I know Pats fans may think we're picking on them because we're putting in plays that are synonymous with teams that they played in the Super Bowl, Philly special. Well, the Los Angeles Rams, Coach Sean McVay and what he likes to do in his offense, if you watch them, there's a lot of motion, a lot of faking, a lot of, misdirection type plays that really gives the defense a lot of things to think about. And this was one of the most highly requested plays that we had, coming into this year, this cycle. And so this is why this new technology that we've invested in this year is paying dividends, because now we're able to deliver these types of plays. It's something that our fans have been asking for.
And one of the other things people always ask about, and I was joking about it yesterday from back in the old days when left, right, up, down, cheat codes. Are there still cheat codes that the engineers and developers work into the game that people have to try to figure out, or is that gone?
Oh, that's pretty much gone. But if somebody can figure something out, they can let me know. Get at me on Twitter, because some of the younger guys here at the studio, the millennial crowd, I guess that's the term I can definitely use to help in trying to play against them.
Anthony,
but in terms of any cheat codes of that nature, not that I'm aware of.
One of our King of Smuts 95 on Twitter is saying that he had a high school friend that worked at EA who was responsible for the KISS code in MLB 99.
The KISS code?
I don't know what it was, but it was pretty big.
Was that with makeup?
I'm not sure about that one. 1999. Wow, that's something we'd have to go and see if we can dig through the archives to verify
now, was
that
one. KISS with makeup or without makeup? I don't know which era that was. I can't keep that.
I don't know what it was. Did the players kiss each other?
No. I don't know what the KISS. Not the KISS cam where they have all the arenas, which is embarrassing for a lot of people, but not for me. I'll kiss anybody if they put a camera on me, and it's they say okay. I don't just force myself on people when I'm in an arena, even if they know who I am from Madden 05, 06, 07. Anthony White, it was great to have you on, my friend, and you guys do an amazing job, and looking forward to Madden 20. And I got my Antonio Brown one I'm going to sell now. Can we change the cover and put Antonio Brown in a different uniform now, in a Jets uniform or a Raiders uniform?
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably some people out there who've updated their covers to make it more silver and blackish, if you will, and show reflective being with the Raiders. But yeah, it was great being on with you guys. I really enjoyed it. It's a nice little break from the grind that we have this time of the year, but it's all for a good purpose. We're trying to get the game polished and ready to go for August 2nd when the game's released.
The great developer of the Madden franchise, He works at EA. He's making it better for you, for me, and making America great for all video games, I guess. I don't think they have that as their slogan.
And fans are screaming at us right now through Twitter, through Periscope, through Twitch, saying, oh, man. Anthony said that there might be a chance that you could bring the Tony Bruno show back, and they have, like, all these GIFs going. People are going crazy.
And no, there's no subliminal messages
No.
to make you order pizza or do any other kind of crazy things if you play the plays backwards. You don't have that option yet. Can you run the plays? Have the plays?
No, nothing of that nature right now.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
Anthony White, thank you so much, sir. Great to talk to you again.
All right. Thank you, guys. You have a great rest of your day.
You too. There he is. Great is that guy. How smart is that man?
Well,
I couldn't even load the game when I got my copy. This guy's making the game. It's incredible.
The thing is that he's not just like a nerdy player. He's a computer geek. Like
he's a developer.
The codes and all of this stuff. You have to be really smart.
And I didn't even have to say to him, "Will you learn to code?" He knew how to code before learning to code was cool. These guys are geniuses. These guys and gals, the people who do this stuff. Because when I did my part for the game, I'm just sitting in a studio in a little box reading and ad-libbing stuff for 2 hours a day. My part was easy, even though it was a little tedious because it's the same repetition stuff. But when they put it together and you listen to it, you're like, oh, my God, how the hell did they do that?
It's brilliant.
How the hell did they do that? And that's the part that's mind-altering to me. When you see the technology and how things are able to be put together in a machine. It's awesome.
Trevor from the 203. The people that code are also the real MVPs, next to bisexuals, of course.
Well, of course. I mean, it's women, men, whatever you
Bisexual,
are.
yeah.
So there you have it, our little Madden segment there. We hope you enjoyed.